everyone, welcome to the video. I'm Sebastian, and today I'm going to help you get started using the XTrace VectorDB. So specifically, you'll learn how to get your free API key, how to initialize the SDK and create your encryption keys, how to create a knowledge base and load encrypted documents into it, and finally, how to run an encrypted semantic search over that data. The thing that makes XTrace different from other vector databases is that your documents and your vectors are encrypted before they leave your machine. That means your data, your vectors, and even what you're searching for can't be seen by anyone but you. Our server and the network only ever see ciphertext, never your actual data. This is our GitHub repo. The SDK is fully open source, and you can verify the encryption yourself or learn more about how we do it. Let's get started. So, the first thing that we're going to want to do is navigate to docs.xtrace.ai. Here you'll find everything you need to know about how to use the VectorDB. For most projects, you'll probably want to use the Python SDK, which you can import directly into your project. However, today, just to explore some basic VectorDB functionalities, we're going to use the CLI. So if you navigate over here on the sidebar to this CLI Quick Start, this is the guide that we're going to be following today. So you can have this open in another tab to follow along if you'd like. Now I'm going to switch over to my terminal. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is create a virtual environment. I'm using UV here, but you can use whatever tool you'd like. Now that I've activated my virtual environment, I can go ahead and install the package. So it is called XTrace AI SDK, like that. And I'm going to include some extra dependencies to run the CLI, as well as to have some embedding model support. Let's clear this from our screen, and we should now have the XTrace command in our path. Let's try it. So as you can see, this prints out the different commands that you can run with XTrace. Init is for first-time setup. KB is for managing your knowledge bases. XVec is for running operations on your encrypted vectors. So you can also start a shell. Let's go ahead and do that now. Awesome. So as you can see, it's telling us that we need to run the init command in order to initialize the session. So let's do that as an admin. Awesome. So here you can enter your XTrace API key. If you don't already have an account, you can create one here at app.xtrace.ai. Let's go ahead and go over there and see what that process looks like. So back to my browser, app.xtrace.ai. Awesome. So once you create an account, you're going to see this dashboard. And this is where you can manage all the information that you've stored with the XTrace VectorDB. This overview area will show some usage, as well as some information about your keys, the knowledge bases that you have, as well as how many bytes of information you've stored. So right now, for our demo, an important thing to grab is our API key. So let me go in here and we can go ahead and create an API key. I will do that off screen. Okay, great. So as you can see, I've created my API key here and copied it to a secure location. What we're also going to need for our demo is this admin key. And this admin key allows us to programmatically manage our knowledge bases. So I've already done that off screen, but you should store that in a secure place as well. Let's head back to our terminal with our credentials. So we should add our API key here, as well as our organization ID and our admin key, since we're running in admin mode. Awesome. So now we get to choose our embedding model. With the Python SDK, we have support for any type of embedding model that you choose. For the CLI, we have built-in support for these three options. For privacy, let's just go ahead and use Sentence Transformer, which will run the embedding model locally. Okay, and for our model, I'm just going to run mixbread. Let's choose the dimension of our embeddings. So this is loading our embedding model onto our machine. so that we can run it locally. Great. Now that our embedding model is loaded onto our machine, we have to set our execution context. An execution context is a concept unique to XTrace. It is pretty much an object that lives on your machine that contains the credentials that you need to access your data. This includes a few encryption keys, including a payload key pair, which is what encrypts your vectors, as well as an AES key, which is what encrypts your content. Both of these are going to be locked behind a passphrase. So we're going to set a new execution context. We're going to set the key length, defaults to 1024. And then we're going to enter this passphrase that I mentioned. So this passphrase is the most important part of the execution context. It's the thing that unlocks your data. So yeah, set it to something that you're not going to forget, or use a KMS. Because if you lose this passphrase, you lose the ability to decrypt your data. So I will set that now. And we'll confirm the passphrase. And now we're generating that execution context. Awesome. So now all this information that resulted from us running this initialization command has been saved to our device, as well as our env file with all our credentials. We are now free to run other XTrace commands. For our first command, let's go ahead and create a knowledge base. A knowledge base is a namespace inside of XTrace that holds a collection of vectors. So the command for that is under the KB group, which let's go ahead and print out the available commands. Excuse me, I'm a typo. So yeah, these are the commands that you can run under the KB group: create, delete, describe, and list. So let's go ahead and create a knowledge base. Create, and we'll call it company documents. Awesome. So what you'll see here printed out to the screen is this KB ID here. And this is the identifier that you're going to use to reference this KB ID. Okay, I went ahead and cleared some of my screen so that we could focus a little bit better. So now that we've created that knowledge base, we can use the KB list command to see the knowledge bases that we've created. So as you can see here, here's our knowledge base called company documents with that knowledge base ID. Awesome. So now let's load some vectors into this knowledge base. As you can see here, right now it's empty. So the way to do this is to use the xvec package. So let's run the help command so we can see the types of things you can do. So these commands allow you to upsert, retrieve, and inspect the elements of a knowledge base and see your vectors. So right now, I think we're going to use the load command to load some folders with some documents into this knowledge base. So the way to do this is xvec load, and I already have some documents here. They're fictional HR documents. And we have to paste our knowledge base ID here. Awesome. So we are embedding those chunks locally right now. It's identified 18 chunks across 4 files. And there you go. It loaded those 18 chunks into this knowledge base. So a quick note here is that the CLI uses basic chunking methods here in order to turn the raw documents into vectors. But the Python SDK support advanced chunking strategies. So yes, we can list our KBs again. And we can see now that the number of vectors inside of our company documents is 18. We can also run the KB head command in order to see the actual vector content. Oh, another typo. Let's go ahead and instead of KB, it's the xvec head. And there we go. We see all these chunks that were processed from our document. And just to clarify here, the only reason that we're able to see this content is because we have our execution context, which is gated by our passphrase, loaded locally on our machine. That's the only way that you're able to actually decrypt and see this plain text data. Our server never sees any plain text of a query, vectors, or the raw content. It's fully end-to-end encrypted. And now that we've gone through the effort of making this knowledge base, loading all these vectors into it, let's finally conduct a semantic search over it. So the way that we're able to do that is through the xvec retrieve command. And what you want to do is you pass in that KBID as well as the query that you want to conduct the semantic search with. So since we loaded in some fictional HR documents, let's ask about paid time off. Awesome. So here we see that it returned the relevant chunks. And our top K was set to 3, by the way, which you can obviously set yourself. Congratulations. You've just successfully used the XTrace CLI to set up your own end-to-end encrypted vector database. For more information about advanced workflows, either using the CLI or the Python SDK, please refer to the documentation. For any questions, please leave a comment on this video or reach out to us on any of the channels listed in the description. We'd love to hear your feedback and hear about what you're building.